Okay, so I've got Graham here again today to do another league with me.
And my aim this league is to make sure that I grab the microphone off web and actually talk into the microphone because people couldn't hear me last time.
So we're not going to let that happen. We're playing Grixis Thieves again. And I reckon this hand's a snap keep.
Yep, seems fine. Are there any changes to the deck from last time we should know about, Michael?
Yep, so we've gone back off the couple of copies of Painful Truths that we had.
Oh, here
Oh,
we go.
fuck, we're on against Dredge. Okay. So this is only going to go well.
for the fast tinker route or bust.
And I don't think we're going to hit Tinker very fast. So I think
No, it's fine. Just cast a call.
So we're going to cast a call. Actually, no, I think we have a bit of time now.
What?
Whatever.
I have not seen this in the main deck yet, so this is interesting.
I don't think this is actually a real problem for us at the moment. If we can find a red source, we can use Dak and take the stupid hollow one back off him. But I think we're just going to play...
Call in his turn, or do we try and hit a mox? Do we A-call on his turn, or do we try and hit a mox?
So I think I want to A-call in his turn. We can take a few beats from the hollow one and hopefully untap with a mox and a red source.
On the upside, he does not have any dredges in his graveyard yet.
So we have time at the moment.
And upkeep.
All right, so let's just A-call now. We're going to do this before he gets to try drawing into another misstep.
Well, he's just, I assume, just dredging so that it can put a dredger in his graveyard for the draw step, but we'll see what happens.
All right, and come on, A-call, hit us. Gas.
No, mental misstep back.
So we're lucky we had the misstep. Normally not the world's greatest card.
It's fine. But
Okay, so...
we hit dig through time.
So unfortunately we really need a mox right now, I think.
It's okay because he really needs a dredger.
Okay, so we're doing really well so far.
Yeah, we'll just keep mising. You've got a one of strip mine in the deck, right?
We have a one of strip mine, so if we hit a DT... Okay, so I guess we'll just drop the Volk and preordain.
I think you preordain using the red just in case you hit a tutor effect.
All right, so you reckon we VT if we find it?
Do we have a VT?
Yeah, so we've got our one of VT we can find.
Okay, so yeah.
So question here for you. Do we bother misstepping this?
I think we want to dig until we find something, but yeah.
So my consideration here is we actually have something. We have a DAC to take hollow one. Once we've got his hollow one...
So you think... But he can only cast Cabal Therapy. Oh, if he hits a land, that's fine. Yeah, that seems fine. We'll wait. And essentially we're just going through the motions, seeing what he can do with his Bazaar.
He's still a very strong favourite to win, unfortunately, at the moment. As anybody who's ever played against Dredge in any format ever knows, game one is highly unpleasant.
So he's got one relevant piece in graveyard, which is a Corrode now, above the two blood casts, which he doesn't have land for, but it's really awkward just not hitting that dredger off the Bazaar since you're running, I think, 14 usually?
So we're just going to hope he keeps whiffing.
I think there's an argument there for playing the Misty Rainforest just to get more cards in graveyard for dig through time, but otherwise it's a percentage play rather than something too relevant.
So at the moment I'm just trying to hold on to our life total to an extent, as it's probably going to become relevant sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, we're on exactly 10, which means that his bloodcasts are active, and I think our Dak's dying this turn regardless.
And I think we're okay with losing the DAC here.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think at the moment it's just we're happy with a 1-for-1 trade and preserving a little bit of our life total.
Yeah, so I think planning the next turn we're probably going to play a fetch land and then cast Dig Through Time with 4 land and Delving 4.
Yep, I think that's fine. Actually, can we...
Oh, we've got a Dredger.
Okay, so now I think we're basically fucked, but let's see what we can do.
We still haven't drawn an artifact so we can tinker outside of the hollow one we just stole.
Does our opponent have it? Our opponent does not have any bridges yet.
I don't know what this match is, but we're luck sacking hard.
No, skilled plays all the way. Graham's underselling our amazing decisions here.
Can confirm.
So he's almost definitely going to therapy here, I believe. So do we bother misstepping the therapy?
I don't think he's going to name anything we've got in our hand at the moment.
All right, so let's just... Yeah, we'll let that resolve.
And just see what he names.
And so I guess next turn we probably want to... So he's got a Dakmor Salvage, so he's going to have...
Snapcaster Mage.
Not an unreasonable name.
Yeah. Okay, so we've still got 2 therapies left though.
So do we attack here?
I don't think so. I think you just leave the Echo alone and then, yeah, cast the Dig Through Time once he does anything. So just play the fetch pass down. And it gives you the small option of mana draining the Dread Return if he does somehow go for that. But I don't think he's got the cards for that currently.
So at the moment, I guess he has to resolve 3 therapies, and he's already used up 2.
Yeah, but he does know our hand, so in response to the first therapy, you probably cast Dig Through Time, which means that it's interesting.
So my actual intention here was to misstep the first therapy, drain the second.
Sure. So I think we just see whether he actually bothers attacking with Theocavode or whether he just goes straight for the therapy. Because if he attacks for some reason, which he might, we just block and then we're ahead. Oh, he's got a bridge now. Okay. Yep, this is not going to go well.
So out here at the moment. So what are we gonna? We're gonna
Dig Through Time for Time Vault combo. Win with Time Vault. Easy. Just get both pieces off the Dig Through Time, Michael.
We can do this.
46 cards, so there's a very small chance of being able to do this.
Should we consider mana draining both therapies here? My logic being, if we actually no, okay, so we missed step 1, we're going to mana drain the second, so we have an extra piece of mana for next turn.
Just counting.
And that'll put 6 cards in the graveyard exactly. Actually, it's going to put 7 cards in the graveyard.
I think we want to be Dig Through Timing on his turn rather than on our turn. It's the only problem.
Yep, so we'll misstep and then drain, and then we're going to have dig up.
Yep, that makes sense.
I think he also probably should have attacked before casting therapy here.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Alright, and so we're going to drain this one.
And he doesn't have, and he's got 1 therapy left. And we just cast Dig Through Time in response to the last one, I think.
So do you think that means that for his last therapy, he should be naming a piece of the Vault Key combo?
So I think he wants to name something that interacts, so he might name Tinker, but otherwise, yeah, he might do what you've said as well. It's really hard to tell, though.
And he's got an awkward decision here because he can Dread Return an Elesh Norn and Bash, but that, I guess, it only loses him 1 bridge at the moment, so it might be worthwhile to just guarantee he has lethal on board next turn.
Yeah, well, I think we definitely go for the second drain if he decides to do the Dread Return, maybe?
So I think he's going to therapy first. No, okay, so
he still does have the therapy available, so if we decide to drain this, it means that he can therapy away the Dig Through Time, but he's only going to be doing it with zombies, which does make him a little bit weaker. Do you think we do the drain, or do you think we...
I don't want to drain here.
Okay. But everything has Summoning Sickness anyway, so...
So the reason we're not going to drain here, I think, is because we still want to be able to dig.
Yeah, cool.
We have a very slim chance. We're not really hinging on it at the moment. We're just going to try our best.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's see what he does.
I think he has to therapy us here, right?
Yeah, he only doesn't have the second give haste ability, so yeah, I think we dig here. Let's go.
And I think I want the second C rather than another Volk.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got what?
Because we want to be able to... I'd rather just have a better chance of having tutors online.
And leave the Echo behind. Doesn't really get there, does it?
So I think we take Ponder and we take Preordain, because that will let us dig the best for the least mana.
It's fine. So we preordain first, is that right?
It depends on what we draw.
Okay.
So I guess he probably shouldn't name Drain here.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. That's the only card he does know about, so it's reasonable that he might name that. But goes for Snapcaster Mage again.
Yep, so there's no point in naming Drain because I don't think he's going to cast another spell this game.
Yeah, and he doesn't really care too much about it. Okay.
So we have a Time Walk, so we are currently live.
Now we're looking for a Snapcaster like he wanted us. What thought would be in our hand?
So, important question here is, will we have enough?
So we've still got the Drain Mana, the one over there.
And I'm also wondering if we can potentially... So we're going to Time Walk for sure.
At some point?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if we can get Cruise online.
Yeah, it's just a question of if you can do anything else at the same time. But I think it depends on what comes up in our draw spells, our cantrips.
So actually, we're definitely going to be able to cruise, but we might have to cruise away a call, which I think is worthwhile from this situation.
That's fine. It's only if we draw in Snapcaster that's relevant, and we want to Snapcaster the Time Walk first anyway.
Do we like another draw 3?
It's I think it's iffy just because we don't have the fetch land at the moment, but I think just bottom both and then ponder.
So the reason to brainstorm here is it's going to let us see 3 more cards next turn.
Yeah, which is fair. You think go for the brainstorm?
Let's go for the brainstorm. We just want to see as many cards as we possibly can because
that's the best way of winning.
And we have to shuffle that.
Yep, that's fair. And that means brainstorm gets quite a bit more value. Okay, we're halfway there.
So DT from here, I think, gets us the game.
Yeah, so you just lead on the brainstorm, don't we? Let's see if we get anything.
Okay, so I think from here, what I want to do...
Sovereign Time Vault and Academy, and that gives you the most mana.
And we need the Jace because the Jace sees us 1 extra card.
Yep.
So I can put the deck back. Actually, I don't think we get to do anything here. The reason being, Jace will leave us with 1 mana open.
We've got 3 artifacts, so 2 mana open.
Ah, I missed the hollow one. Okay. That's the gap.
Oh yeah, cool. I was going to say, was it worth bouncing Elishnon, but it's really not.
No, he's got lethal on board regardless of what we do. So we can concede there.
Yep.
So we're going to bring in 2 Tormod's Crypts, a Yixla Jailer. I feel like that should be a Crypt realistically. However, I've just been trying it out lately. Graham, what do you reckon about the Jailer?
Jailer is one of the harder pieces for them to interact with, just because a lot of the time they won't bring in any creature removals. Most common things are Firestorm, which doesn't get played anymore, or Barbarian Ring, which has quite a high condition on it.
And so there is a lot to be said for that. It's also just, it can be a little hard to cast early sometimes. So cuts here are going to be, we're going to cut an Ocean Thief, we're going to cut an Island, because we can go down a land. We're going to cut both Flusterstorms. Pyroblast, I think a Braid.
So considering he's got Hollow 1 in the main deck, do we want to keep in the Braid just to deal with that? Or do you think or is that not enough of a consideration?
I think spot removal is real bad against Dredge. I just don't think it achieves enough. I'd rather try to do my best to stop them from actually playing Magic for whatever that, for the value of that is. We need 1 more cut. Is there what would you cut here, Graham?
Let me look. Look, I would probably cut the Jace just because it's a little bit slow and it's 4 mana, so it's kind of hard to get to, but it's hard to say.
That would have been, that's actually my choice there for exactly the same reason, so I think we'll just cut the Jace. We're now, actually we're not too light on win cons now. We still have Blightsteel, we have Jace, and we still have Vault Key, so we just have 1 less Jace than we would have otherwise, which I think is okay.
Yep, let's go.
I think it does mean we need to be careful about pitching Jace to Force.
Or playing it at all into whatever his board is.
And I think we're going to keep this. We have a Force, we have Double Cage, and we have Dak in case he drops a Hollow one.
Sounds good. So do we Lotus land Dak Fade and Uncage first turn? Or do you want to keep the Dak to pitch to Force?
I'm going to keep the Dak to pitch to Force. And I'm going to drop 2 cages.
Sounds good.
Or do you think we should just slow roll it and just run out 1 cage here?
I prefer just playing one at a time, just in case they. It just makes it easier to play around things.
And I think I'm pretty keen next turn to, depending on what happens, maybe just drop a DAC.
Yeah, that's fair. Lotus isn't actually that good at the moment. Once we get past this turn, if we do draw land at least. And he's opening on an ligature. I think we let that resolve and then just go for the second cage next turn.
Yep, I think that's a reasonable option here. We did have a pretty hateful hand, so we're just going to be happy to run with that, I think.
And there's a possibility that if we didn't pay the first cage, that he might not have run that out until he could deal with both of them. So this just gives us a little bit more play.
I'm kind of keen to slow roll the DAC here. I'd rather have... Actually, do we need to wait until we have an extra card in hand? I think I want to wait till I have an extra card in hand before I dump the DAC onto the board. Just because I want to be able to hold up as a couple of counter spells there in case he has a way of dealing with a cage. How do you feel?
Yeah, that seems fine to me. I also wouldn't mind the concept of if we, just from next turn, playing Black Lotus and holding up the Hardcast Force until we have something better to do, because we're not actually doing anything that proactive at the moment. And we probably want to force.
Yeah, I'm definitely forcing the second Ingot Chewer here. If we let him start actually doing anything, I think we're going to start being unhappy.
But why can't I mental misstep that? He only cast it for 1 mana.
Okay, so at some point we're going to have a long conversation with Graham about his terrible misunderstandings of how magic works. Clearly mana is a mystery for him.
I've never used mana in my life.
Just like this Dredge player. I lie. He managed to use 2 in 2 turns.
Without even playing a Bazaar.
Alright, so I think our perfect next draw here is...
any type of mana. Actually, it's Ancestral Recall, and then we cast Lotus Ancestral Recall and DAC.
I'd also kind of like to see a Demonic Tutor for a Strip Mine.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think we want to start digging with DAC regardless from here.
Yep, and I think we're going to do that. So I want to leave the library in hand. We'll play the Lotus. And we're going to get double blue off the Lotus and then sack this for red.
Yep, sounds good.
Sorry, triple blue off the Lotus because...
Black Lotus is a powerful magic card which, when you sacrifice it, adds 3 blue mana to your mana pool. Other colours can be made, but they're not as good.
And ideally, DAC is going to find us a Ancestral Recall.
Or a Demonic Tutor.
So I think we want to... I'm going to keep the... I want to keep the Drain here, I think.
Your problem with keeping the Drain is that you don't have a second blue mana at the moment, and you're not casting it this turn, so it's something which you're saving till next turn. I think it might be worth just mana fixing for the moment with the blue to Delta, and then working from there. You're definitely pitching the library, I think.
Yeah, a library's never been good against Dredge. In fact, I think perhaps we probably should have cut the library instead of the island, just because of how Dredge operates. I'm just not very good at remembering that library is a cuttable land.
I didn't see you cut the island.
So it's Graham's fault.
Yes, always my fault.
Okay, so at the moment, we have...
He's in a situation where he's looting for 3 each turn until he finds something that he thinks is going to be relevant against us, and then going to try and kill us somehow.
And we're in a bit of an awkward spot because, look, really, I want to find a Tormod's Crypt. If he plays a Angler here, we're in trouble. I'm going to fetch on upkeep, I think. I think we want to see.
Yeah, that seems fair. We're already looting for 2, which means that we're a little bit behind in that manner as well. It's interesting that to an extent that he's holding out the Mana Confluence, but he might just not have anything he can actually do with it. That's a good card. I think we want to deck first just to increase the cards in library. In graveyard, does that matter at all?
We might want to cast Will with Lotus, so maybe we should.
We've got exactly 7, and I don't think we're recurring anything there. Have we got a Yawgmoth's Will? I assume we do.
We have a Will, but actually I think we want to get the best possible picks out of Dax, so I think we want to cruise.
Okay, sounds good. And hopefully he's not playing a main deck Force.
So we have a. Actually, okay. So we're going to pitch. We're going to pitch both lands here, I think. So we can force pitch Jace, and work towards getting Dig online.
Yep, that seems fair. We're 2 cards short at the moment, so we can pretty much do it starting from next turn.
And I mean, ideally, we don't want to pitch the Jace because we want to have as many outs to resolved creatures as possible.
Yeah, so we're getting towards the point where he might start trying to cast his Bloodghasts.
Okay, and we're definitely forcing that. So force pitch.
Jace. Part of the problem with trying to commentate a Dredge matchup is it roughly always runs the same way of I need to find my hate pieces. Did I get there? Yes/no. So we're just going to keep going, and he's going to keep trying to fight through the hate pieces that we've got. So sorry about the kind of repetitive nature of what we're discussing here at the moment. Otherwise, we're doing our best to dig for whatever the next card is, hopefully the Atomic Crypt. Or the Jailer, actually. The Jailer might be a better thing to get at the moment, but...
So the problem we have at the moment, because we pitched Jace, we don't have a lot of answers to something like a resolved... we don't have a lot of answers to a resolved... what's the stupid 5/5 fish?
Gomag Angler.
Yeah. Interesting question here. What do you pitch?
So firstly, Yawgmoth's Will, because it's completely useless with our Grafdigger's Cage. Secondly, probably the Toxic Deluge.
Okay, so we're now going to Time Walk.
Yep, Time Walk, and then maybe dig next turn, depending on what we get.
All right, Crypt is nice. I think we're going to DAC, then we're going to...
Dig. I think he... doesn't matter too much, mainly because, once again, Grafdigger's Cage, but I think it's worth leaving behind the Time Walk.
I think I also want to leave the Toxic Deluge. We have some options where we could... Okay, so we're going to take a call and...
I think we take Tinker and Voltaic Key.
I was actually going to tinker away our cage to get a Blight Steel.
Okay. So that's an option. It does obviously give him a turn, but since you've got the Tormod's Crypt, it makes it a little bit harder. The other option is, as I've just said, we play out Voltaic Key, we tinker next turn into a Time Vault and combo next turn, which I think is a little bit safer, but because it doesn't leave you a turn without the Grafdigger's Cage, but your choice.
I think because we're going to pop the Crypt, we're going to... Because we're going to pop the Crypt, we're going to take the Tinker.
Okay, let's go. I think you just leave it there until he does something relevant.
So the argument for doing it now, maybe we put a stop at the end of his draw step. So
That's fair. But the thing is that he's not doing anything. He's not going to do anything which is going to stop you from activating it, and you can activate it in response to anything that, in response to an Archimedes trigger, for example. Even though it's not too relevant, so I think it's fine just letting him put more cards into graveyard, and that means that we don't need to do our Tinker play until next turn, and we've got the most number of cards removed.
Now, an interesting question here is how many lands do we actually have left in our deck?
That's a question.
Hopefully we have, between everything, enough.
Oh, very flat. Sure.
So we're going to A-call then Dak and hit another mana source.
Yeah, he's going to make a misstep.
I think that's fine.
Yep. Ditch a ponder if we need to. Okay. Well, glad we didn't draw that one earlier.
Okay, so we have almost no fetchable lands remaining. Now let's tinker. Sacrificing Cage.
Yep. And I think we end of draw step do the Thomas script, unless something relevant happens.
Alright, so I better put a stop in my opponent's turn here.
And we'll just see how the Bazaar goes as well. Because we may need to do something with the trick on the stack, but it doesn't have any corrodes in graveyard, which is good. Yep, they're all fine. Wait for a draw. Or was that draw? Yep, that was. And he's got 2 cards in hand, and hopefully they don't do anything. I don't think he can do anything, really.
So hopefully that gets us game 2. So I don't think we care about any of this. He needs to be able to answer Blightsteel specifically. And he has almost nothing that's going to answer a Blightsteel.
Yep. Chain of Vapor, maybe.
If he has a Chain of Vapor, we're fucked. I don't think we care about an Archimedes.
No. And we're good. And attack for lethal.
Is there a consideration to attack first so we can find a misstep?
Look, you can. I don't think it's that relevant.
Alright, combat step. Let's try this. Okay, we get there.
And it says that Illurin85, who apparently is a big fan of the card, has 11 poison counters. So we want to cut the library now?
Yeah, let's fix our library issue.
In a situation like this, do you think it's worth bringing in a singular notion feed for the period of time where they are trying to dig for a threat? So just to try and letting you draw the cards instead of them. It's only relevant if they don't have a dredger, but it is still nice.
What do we cut to bring it in? So do we cut, say, a preordain?
Look, maybe. How relevant do you think the Snapcaster is if you don't have a cage? I think a Snapcaster is a consideration. I think Toxic Deluge isn't really that good, but obviously it's our only way of dealing with the bigger creatures, the anglers and the...
It also is the only thing that gives us an out to a bunch of resolved creatures. So if he has a big board of zombies, Deluge is the only thing that's actually relevant. Whereas Snap, I think Snap's probably the best cut if we're going to bring in an Ocean Thief Snap. We ideally want to be sitting behind a cage most of the game, or a Yixla Jailer, at which point Snapcaster Mage is a...
Just for reference, Snapcaster does work through Yixla Jailer because it gives it the ability over the top of the Yixla Jailer effect.
I did not know that. I just thought Yixla Jailer cut it off from having flashback. I've learnt something today. I wouldn't trust the implementation on Moto.
It's one of those judge things you learn somewhere along the way.
Graham just noticed our Straconst is out of date. This is another Moto thing. Graham, this hand has no blue sources, but it has a cage and a crypt and a force of will.
That looks good to me.
All right, so let's just pray that our first draw is something like a strip mine.
Look, we've got 3 turns to draw it. 6 cards entered the exile zone. If he's using that, how do we view these?
Okay, so we've got rid of...
1 bridge gone and 1 troll gone. Stop me if you've seen this before.
All right, I'll stop you now. Oh, cool, and we got a blue source. So do we just want a time walk here?
Look, it's not the worst. It gives you an extra card out of your deck, so yeah, seems fine.
All right, so we're going to time walk, and then we can talk about... We're going to time walk, and we're going to find exactly Black Lotus so we can cast a Jace. Because I'm sure this is exactly how it's going to happen. And then we're going to drop our crypt in our cage.
Yeah, I'm going to accuse you of hacking if you do draw a Black Lotus here.
Well, that's not a Lotus, but it will do the job just fine. So we've got to dodge missteps here.
Yeah, seems fine. And then we fire off the Pyridane, I think.
Into exactly Black Lotus.
I think it's fine to just grab a blue card to pitch to force and then bottom the Delta.
I kind of want the Delta. I would like to have a win con or something to keep us ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. I appear to have hit a small snag where I'm out of beer, so I'm going to get another one.
I would like another one too, please, Graham. And a bottle opener. So question for you here. Our opponent's just dropped a hollow one. Do we just want to Toxic Deluge that on our next turn? So Graham's just agreed with me that we should Deluge the hollow one rather than forcing it. So I think we'll save our hate for... we'll save our Force of Wills for things that deal with our cage. All right, so Graham was very kind and did actually bring me a beer and a bottle opener. And apparently raided my freezer. All right, so I can't punt here. It needs to be 4 life.
I'll let you deal with that.
Okay, let's see how this works. 4? Yes, 4.
4? Looks good.
Okay, and there was 1 bridge, but I don't think we care too much about the bridge.
No.
Not from a nice, healthy life total of 15.
Watch as we lose this.
It's okay. We just need to draw 1 more land, and then we can bounce the zombie.
Looks like a clever play. He does have a therapy though.
Which he can't play because of the cage.
Yes, true. I know how magic works. And cage.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it right now. Graham is actually a good player.
I haven't gotten proper drunk yet. We'll see what happens.
Alright, so we're going to top deck a land or a mana source next turn. Or another crypt. So far so good.
Yeah, that's fine. We've got a 14 turn clock on us. I don't think we care. 7 even.
Do we want to pop a crypt now?
No, we don't really have anything relevant yet.
So the reason to pop a crypt now is because of...
Gomag Angler. Have you seen any signs that he's playing Gomag Angler? Because I feel like he might have discarded one last turn, but it's hard to say.
So I always feel like if I see a hollow one...
You assume that he's got the Anglers as well?
Yeah, basically. Do we have a... Alright.
Well, I just feel like I want to get a few more key pieces out of his graveyard, if that makes sense.
So do we reckon we try to fade one more turn?
Yeah, keep going for the moment. Just see what he's doing. Modo is a well-designed program, as you can see from Michael's valiant clicking. He gets rid of another Bazaar. Interesting.
So I don't think he can afford to hold on to the Bazaars right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially because Bazaars are just going to leave him with... Oh, we're running out of clock. So this is actually a problem. So we're going to have to start hero clicking through this.
Yeah, okay. So let's let Webb be a little bit more aggressive here, and we'll try and talk as we go instead of talking everything before we actually do it. We do still have 3 minutes on him, so it shouldn't be too bad. However, so we've got a volcanic key, so that means it makes it a little bit easier if we do find a time vault or something similar. But we'll see how that part goes as well. As we've mentioned earlier, we're pretty much just digging for a Black Lotus so that we can play, not a Black Lotus, any mana source, so that we can pay out our Jason Mind Sculptor at the moment. And the Pitch to Force is going to be a second Force of Will.
I'm going to pop the crypt at the end of his next draw step because he now has a black source, which to me indicates as much as anything else that we are in real risk of seeing an angler. And I'd rather hold our forces for something relevant.
Yep, and we'll see what we draw here. We've finally got our land, so we can play our Jace. And do you want to do a quick brainstorm first, or do we want to just immediately bounce the zombie?
Let's just get rid of the zombie.
Okay, sounds good. So just because Dredge is drawing 2 and discarding 3 each turn, it means that ticking up on them actually isn't all that relevant. To some extent, it's probably worth actually Jace ticking up on yourself, and that means you get to filter through the draws that you're having and get to the pieces that you want sooner as well.
So I wasn't thinking about that, so that sounds like a really good idea. Let's do that.
The other option, obviously, is just Jace draws you a lot of cards, so you can just brainstorm. But since we're rather low on clock, I think we go for the other option at the moment.
Are we going to force this?
Yes, I think so. And I think the double force there means that we do go back to the brainstorming plan over the ticking up plan.
I think we actually need to play key.
And, you know, so do we do what we did last time and get a time vault, or do we get a bite still, or do we just tinker for time vault here?
We're just going to tinker for time vault and kill him next turn.
Sounds good.
He's now got too many artifacts to answer. I don't know.
That's the other reason why you don't get Blightsteel, because we've got a Grafdigger's Cage on the field, and we're good Magic players.
I'm going to leave that on top. So, unless he does something this turn, he should probably scoop unless he thinks we can't beat the clock.
But we're very professional moto clickers, and you should see us tick up Jace. That's pretty good.
Don't really care about that. I think we're just going to keep ticking up Jace here.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so tick up on us and see whether or not we can... and I think we just play the second cage.
I'm going to hold on to the second. Actually, no, let's get it out. Actually, maybe we should have held it for Serenity.
Yeah, that's fair. One of the things with the decks which are running 4 Hollow 1/3 Go Mag Angler in the sideboard, we want to bottom that.
We just bottomed it. It's okay.
Cool. Yeah, one of the things with the decks which are running 4 Hollow 1s and 3 Go Mag Anglers is it takes up a lot of space in the sideboard, so it makes it a little bit harder for them to fit in a card like Serenity in their sideboard, and it's going to be much more aggressive answers. We do know that he's running Nature's Claim and Ingot Chewer, which we know aren't in the main deck. There is, however, Hollow 1 in the main deck, so that means that he may have moved those over to make a little bit more space, but we don't know exactly what he spent it on. Based on what we can see, though, I would say that Serenity is not a card that he has.
For some reason, we've drawn just like straight trash and mana sources, but he actually needs to win this turn.
He has 5 more cards that he can draw, and I'm fairly sure we can just F6 through them. For our own turn as well.
Is there a reason to tick up one more time?
No. He has a 5-card hand, and that becomes his library, and if he hasn't played any of them now, then they're not relevant there when we do the Jace thing and kill it.
So the only thing to be concerned about is maybe something like a hard cast.
The Stifle Blowout.
I was thinking like a hard cast Bloodghast would hurt. Although we might be able to race that.
We can race it. It would be 10 damage over 5 turns, and we're on 12.
We got a top now, so we're just going to keep... he's really trying to get us to race the clock.
Yeah, we don't need to do anything. Anyway, that is how to Jace against Dredge. For anyone who didn't know, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again in the next round, which will, we'll still play this out for 50 seconds since he doesn't look like he wants to concede to us.
Which is fair. Like, we haven't managed the clock very well so far.
There was a lot of things to discuss.
I'm not even going to bother cruising here. We're just going to hold up the Force of Will for whatever stunt he tries to pull.
You should have played the land so you could hardcast the Force.
I already can. There's a Mox.
Oh. Yeah, it just doesn't go near the mana sources, because why would you want them nearby?
Alright, so we have to get through one more of his turns, which with my clicking finger almost worn out might be hard. Very hard to F2.
Apparently he also uses it to open beer bottles. It's a lot of strain that's being put on it.
Alright, so let's let him draw a card. And we'll win with 1 minute and 17 on the clock.
Thank you for listening.